By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are back in Arnhem, the Netherlands for the finals of the Camel Trophy number 7. And in the finals we've got two robot heavy decks. We've got a blue-white deck piloted by Martijn, UW Robots. He is taking on Dutchman Peter, and Peter is playing a deck that I've called Robot Valley. Also a deck heavily depending on robots, I should say. Triskelion, Suchi's, copy artifacts, but he's also playing with Diamond Valley and Rook Egg, so a little twist on your usual robots deck. Now before I start with the deck decks, first a message from our sponsor, 3for1 Trading. 3for1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards, and thank you 3for1 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to dive into the deck decks. I'm going to start with the player on the right, that is Peter. Let's take a look at his deck. And here we see the deck of Peter. Well, actually some cards, key cards in the deck of Peter. Unfortunately, I don't have a deck picture. I do remember playing against him though, because I played against him during the Swiss rounds, unfortunately lost. If only I would have won, maybe I would have qualified for top 8 with my Eureka deck, but I didn't, and Peter, you won fair and square. And what I remember of this deck is, I thought it was just a robots deck. I believe he's not playing white, although I'm not 100% sure, but he seemed to be playing like Animate, Dead, Suchi, Triskelion, Copy Artifact, so kind of, you know, your robots deck, kind of the Brooder Bots deck. But then he surprised me by playing out a Rook Egg and also later in the game playing out a Diamond Valley. So I know that those cards are in there as well. And it's quite fascinating, right? I guess if you play Animate Dead, then the Rook Valley plan kind of fits to that. But yeah, I'm not really sure what the added value is of adding that into a robots deck. But maybe there is. And I'm always interested in people that, you know, try to do something new. You know, get like an existing deck like robots and try to do something cool by maybe adding another strategy like the Rook Egg strategy and the Diamond Valley strategy into the mix. So it's always interesting to see that. Unfortunately, I don't have a deck photo, so this is all the information that I have at the moment. Luckily, we do have a nice deck photo of Martijn's deck, so let's take a look at that one. And here we see the robots deck of Martijn. So this is a blue-white robots deck. You've got different types of robot decks with different variations with color. But of course, most of them have that blue-white core, and we see Martijn really going heavily into that blue-white. And why is it called robots? Well, that's because of two creatures in the deck, Triskelion and Suchi. So Triskelion, the 4/4, well actually the 1/1 for 6 mana, but it comes into play with 3+1/+1 counters, so it's basically a 4/4. You can take those counters off to deal 1 damage to any target, and believe it or not, that is really good in old school. And he's only playing with 2, which surprises me a little bit. Usually these robot decks play with 4 Triskelions and 4 copy artifacts, but we see that Martijn chose a little bit more of a different strategy, maybe a bit more controlling strategy, you could say. He's playing with 2 copy artifacts and 2 Triskelions, so he's being a little bit modest in that department. He is playing with 4 Suchi. Suchi, the 4/4 creature from Antiquities. When it dies, you get 4 mana, and of course this is a problem when you're playing with mana burn, but in this format in Swedish there's no mana burn, so that makes this, the Suchi really good. It's a 4/4/4, which is really great stats. It is, however, very vulnerable because it's an artifact and a creature, so there are a lot of ways to deal with it, but of course it's also a great target for those 2 copy artifacts. And then right next to the Suchis we see 2 Sages of Latnam. Sages of Latnam is kind of your extra Gem Day tomes, right? A better Gem Day tome, you could say. The problem of Sage though is it's a creature, right? It's a 1/2 creature, 1 blue and 1, also from Antiquities. You can tap it, sacrifice a creature to draw a card. Well, I'm saying sacrifice a creature, you have to sacrifice an artifact, which is a very important difference. Because when you sacrifice an artifact, yes, you can sacrifice the creatures in this deck. You can also sacrifice an animated Mishra's Factory, but later in the game, if you're having too many Moxen and you don't really need them, you can cash in those Moxen for cards, and that can turn out to be quite decisive. I've seen Sage of Latnam decide a lot of games, and the thing is, The secret is out. People know how good Sage is, so usually it finds a bolt or a Swords to Plowshares as soon as it hits the board. But still, if it can stick on the board, it can be a super good card here for Martijn. Talking about card draw, we also say 2 Jam Day Tomes. So 2 Tomes and 2 Sage of Latinum. That kind of shows the intention of Martijn's deck. This is really a UW Robots kind of control build. In my opinion, we also see 2 counterspells and a mana drain, so 3 counterspells in total. Then, of course, we see that, white control package, the reason that white is so incredibly popular, right? We see 4 Swords to Plowshares, 3 Disenchants. We see a single Divine Offering. I think Divine Offering is one of those cards that, continues to be more and more popular because it also gives you life. In this format, we also have a lot of 12 bolt decks, meaning Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Psionic Blast, that combination. And if you have that little bit of life gain, even 1 Divine Offering can actually get you a long way. We also see another Divine Offering in the sideboard that, of course, you can board in if you play against, well, for example, another Robots deck, right? You're going to board in that extra Divine Offering. Talking about Artifact Hate, we also see a Dust to Dust main. And this kind of surprises me. It shows how many artifacts Martijn is expecting today and how many artifacts there actually are in old school Magic at the moment that you can play a Dust to Dust main. And of course, because he's mainly playing white and blue, the double white is not so much of a problem. When you're playing this white and blue robot shell in a lot of other decks, they're playing multiple colors besides white and blue, and then the double white can be an issue. But in this case, it's no issue, and Martijn saying, I've got the mana to cast this Dust to Dust. I'm going to play it because I'm expecting to run into a lot of Moxen and other decisive artifacts. Of course, Jam Day Tome is another very popular artifact that you're going to see as well. And of course, the abundance of Suchis in the Swedish format. So it's going to help against those as well. And then one card I want to highlight before I continue, because then we just see, all the restricted cards that are in there for a reason, because they're, super good. That's why they're restricted. But it's also interesting to see the single Armageddon. Again, I think that's a good choice also because he is himself playing with a lot of mana rocks, so you can Armageddon, keep those mana rocks. But also Armageddon, just in general, a great card. If you're ahead in the game, Armageddon, and you're probably going to win, right? So if you time your Armageddon right, that can be a game decider. Okay, and now that we've talked about both decks, it means we're ready to go to the match. Let's go. Game number 1 here of the finals is about to start. On the left side we have Martijn. I believe he's on the draw. He's playing blue-white robots. Let's see if he's going to keep his hand. And yeah, he's going to shuffle. I kind of had that idea, to be honest, looking at the body language of the hands. Is that a thing? The body language of the hands. Anyway, he's going to take a mulligan. On the right we have Peter. It looks like he's going to keep. He is on the play and he's playing Robot Valley. I believe it's a 3-color deck, black, red, and blue, but I didn't have a deck photo, so we're just going to have to find out as this game progresses what kind of deck he's actually playing. I do know that there are Diamond Valleys in there and Rook Eggs in there, and robots and copy artifacts and stuff, so I kind of got the gist of the deck. And now it's up to Martijn to draw a fresh 7, decide if he wants to keep. And if he wants to keep, he has to put a card on the bottom of the library. We are playing according to the London Mulligan rule. So that means you draw 7, and then if it's your first mulligan, you put 1 card on the bottom. If it's your second, 2 cards, and so forth. So 6 cards for him. Okay, we can only see a bit of his hand, though. I saw a Time Walk there and the Swords to Plowshares and a basic island. Let's see what Peter can do. And we're off to the races here. Black Lotus and an Underground Sea. Look at this crack in the Lotus. Aggressive start here. There we see a Demonic Tutor. So an aggressive opener. And I wonder what he's going to look up. Okay, he's going to go for Ancestral Recall. Now that's of course interesting because you already lose 2 cards because you've used your Black Lotus as well. So I guess he did the Black Lotus for blue mana. That would mean that after the Ancestral Recall he still has 2 blue mana floating. Or sorry, 1 blue mana floating of course because he needed 1 of the mana to cast the Demonic Tutor. But I mean it's not a bad start at all. But maybe, I'm not quite sure if you should do this. The Lotus is also a powerful tool. But anyway, it has happened. He's played the Ancestral Recall, passed the turn here to Martijn. Let's see what he can do. There we see a Tundra and a Mox Pearl and a pass. There we see a Mishra's Factory. Could, of course, swing in. Oh, no, of course not, because it's still a summoning sickness. I won't say could swing in, but it's risky. But, of course, he couldn't. And here we see Martijn playing a basic island. Passing the turn back here to Peter, it seems. And both players seem to be chatting quite a lot, which is fun. I mean, it was a fun casual tournament here in Arnhem. And it also was a lot of fun last year. I don't know if you've seen the series of the Camel Trophy number 6. That was really a nice finals, by the way, between a mono green and a black and white deck. And I'll have an info card pop up so you can also see that Camel Trophy number 6 if you want to, the matches from that tournament. Here we see a Suchi being played out by Martijn, the 4/4 All-Star from Antiquities. And there we see a Badlands. So 2 Badlands, an Underground Sea, and a Mishra's Factory here on the board for Peter. Now Peter is playing, I believe, with copy artifacts, so perhaps we're going to see a copy, or of course a Suchi of his own. No, we're going to see a Rook Egg. So here's the Rook Egg. Card from Arabian Nights, an 0/3 creature, and when it dies, you get a 4/4 flying bird in the end step. So this is a pretty good blocker here for the Suchi. The problem, though, is with the Rook Egg that it has to go to the graveyard. So if you exile it with Swords to Plowshares, you don't get the 4/4 bird. But for now, it's doing the job, or not. He's tapping a white. Yeah, so this is the scenario I just described. That's the big downside of the Rook Egg. And there we also see a Time Walk here and an Ancestral Recall. Wow! What a turn! What a turn for Martijn. He's kind of taken over the game here with that Swords to Plowshares, Time Walk, Ancestral Recall situation. He can hit again for 4 next turn. Wow. Very strong moment here for Martijn. Taking over the game. There's the attack again, so Peter dropping to 12. Unable to do anything here. Now let's see if Martijn can put up some more pressure. Tapping 3 here. Okay, there's a recall, so probably going to get back exactly the Ancestral Recall. Gonna tap one blue for the Ancestral Recall. Gonna draw 3 cards. I mean, there's nothing Peter can do here. Just sit back and, well, I wouldn't want to say enjoy the show, but just, you know, just sit back and accept what's happening here. We see a Mox Jet being played out and a duel and then a pass. Okay, so finally Peter's turn again. Drop to 12. Let's see what he can do. There's a Diamond Valley. That's, of course, a card he wanted 1 turn earlier, because then he could have responded with the Valley. And here we see the Suchi, 4/4 Suchi hitting the board. So Suchi versus Suchi. And there's a Disenchant, though. Of course, he can eat it up with the Valley, gain 4 life, so that's something. Going to go back up to 16. And I think Diamond Valley is a very strong card in Old School. It's a card often overlooked, but that little bit of life gain can get you a long way. Also really nice to combine it with steal effects. For example, if you're playing with a Preacher or Control Magic or a Disharmony. You can do a lot of cool things with Diamond Valley. And here we see a Triskelion by Martijn. So the first strike here hitting the board, and yeah, it's still looking pretty bad for Peter. He's on 12. Yes, he gained some life, but needs to find some good answers here. Perhaps a Shatter would be a good start. Playing a duel, another Underground Sea. I mean, the good news for him is that his hand is full of cards. There's an Animate dead. Unfortunately, cannot get back the Rook Egg. That is so annoying for him. We see a counterspell, though, here on the Animate dead. I mean, even if he could have animated, it's not that great. Would have brought back the Suchi as a 3/4. Then he could have double blocked with the factory, but it's not ideal. It's still Martijn very much in the lead here in the first game of the finals of the Camel Trophy number 7. Martijn animating his factory here, kind of signaling that he has an answer to the factory. Of course, has a strip mine on board as well, so that's already an answer to the potential blocker of Peter. And this is an attack for 10. I mean, Peter has to block here. Animating the Mistress Factory, expecting to see a strip mine here in response. Exactly, we're going to see the strip, then he can eat it up with the valley. He would go up to 15. That's going to buy him at least a turn. So this is a good play here by Peter. Going to go up to 15, take 10, going to drop to 5, I believe. Exactly, 5 life left here for Peter. Yeah, and this is pretty devastating for the Robot Valley player. Finding another factory. But just one factory is not going to cut it. Yeah, what you need here is a Shatter Storm, but I don't think he plays one. Like a Shatter Storm would kind of help him here, but not even that would really help him when I think about it, because then he doesn't have enough mana to block. Anyway, it's not relevant because he's not even playing one. Maybe in the side, who knows. Anyway, both players are now going to dive into their sideboard. Martijn is winning this first game, and we will catch back up with them in game number 2. Game number 2, here we go. So it's 1 game up for Martijn, meaning it's Peter again on the play here. Let's see what he can do. Factory, again the Lotus, that's good. Max Pearl. Again sacking the Lotus. And a turn 1 Suchi here from Peter in the finals. So a strong opener. But of course Martijn is playing with white, has a lot of answers. Are we going to see a Swords here? Nope, we're going to see an Ancestral Recall. So he's going to go for the Ancestral. He's going to tap a green for a Soul Ring. And then if he passes, at least Peter can swing in for 6. That's something. There's another factory. He can actually swing in for 7. That's quite a hit. Of course, Martijn had a very strong opener, so I expect some fireworks in the second turn for him. But look at that, 7 damage, dropping to 13. And of course, I'm rooting here for Peter because I really want to see a game 3. And I'm also just curious about your deck, Peter. I want to see more of your deck. But here we see Martijn tapping for... Oh, Armageddon! Oh, yeah. Destroying both factories. And there's a Tundra. So Martijn playing a single Armageddon. And now I wonder if Martijn has a Swords to Plowshares, because if not, he's going to take another hit of 4. There's the attack. Ooh, no Swords, going to drop to 9. Double Mox, or another Mox, I mean, played out, and a Volcanic Island for Peter. So pretty good rebuilding of the mana base by Peter. Tapping 2. Yep, there's the Disenchant. So the Suchi is gone. And there we see a factory and a pass. And we do see an Animate dead there in hand, but no black mana for Peter. Is that another land there on the left side of his hand? 3 cards in hand. One of them is the Animate dead. Okay, there's a Diamond Valley. That was that land. Unfortunately for him, Diamond Valley doesn't tap for mana. Cannot produce a black mana. There we see a City of Brass. So is this the point where Peter can kind of take over? There is a Suchi. And there's a pass. I believe Peter is playing with Shatters as well. Is that an Ancestral Recall? Is it going to... No, it's going to be countered. That is unfortunate here. I feel this was a key moment in the game. There we do see an Animate dead. So one of the things here that Peter could have done, but it's always easy in hindsight here being a commentator looking at these plays, is first do your Animate dead. Try to lure out that counter spell and then play out that Ancestral Recall. And he's going to tap 3 mana here. What is he going to do? There's a Divine Offering. Yeah, of course he can eat it. So that's actually, again, Diamond Valley really kind of helping here. 4 life for Peter. Going to go to 24, then take 4 from Suchi. So he's going to end up on 20. Oh, takes an extra 2 from the factory. So actually drops to 18. And it seems like a pass turn here. But again, Peter in trouble. Because look at his hand. He's top decking at the moment. Already played out the Ancestral Recall. There's a Shatter. Okay. That's pretty good. Shattering away the Suchi. Passing the turn to Martijn. But Martijn has more cards, still has the factory. Ooh, there's a Triskelion. Good moment to play out the Trike 4/4 creature from Antiquities. Actually a 1/1, but it comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters that you can fire off at any target. Peter just passing turn here, unfortunate. Another Shatter would have been nice for him. There's the attack for 4. Peter dropping to 14. Ooh, it's going to tap quite a lot. Are we going to see a Brain Geyser? Brain Geyser! Yeah, this Brain Geyser could be decisive here. Now, so much card advantage for Martijn after resolving this Brain Geyser. So many cards in hand. There's a Ruby. And a pass. I mean, if you're Martijn, you're loving this. Yes, you're on 7, but you're so far ahead. Ooh, is that a Fireball? Is that a Fireball in the hands of Peter? I mean, he doesn't have enough. Is he going to Fireball the Trike here? Yeah, he's going to Fireball the Trike. Okay, makes sense. 3 damage for Peter, drops to 11. The problem, though, is that, you know, Martijn just drew a bunch of cards. I'm pretty sure there's a Suchi and a Trike in there. Or at least one of the two. So I'm expecting to see a creature. He's going to tap 4. And is he going to copy? He's going to copy. So 2 Suchis, 3 Suchis perhaps. Oh, a Time Walk. Oh, even worse. A Time Walk here. That means he can attack for 10. Put Patron on 1. Oh, yeah. That Brain Geyser was the nail in the coffin here, I feel, for Peter. That card resolved. And that his own Ancestral Recall didn't resolve. Those were the 2 key moments in this game, because actually Peter had a pretty decent start. There's the attack for 10. He's going to drop to a measly 1 life. He's showing a counterspell in hand and saying, whatever you're going to cast, I'm going to counter it away. So that's it. Yeah, Martijn winning it here, winning the Camel Trophy number 7 with white-blue robots. Congratulations, Martijn. You have won it here. Well done. And we've actually seen your deck in action quite a lot. We saw it in the semis, and I think we saw it in some other episodes as well. So if you're interested in this deck and you haven't seen all the Camel Trophy matches yet, please check out the playlist. There's probably an info card popping up right now. Click on there and it'll take you directly to the playlist where you can see all the other matches played here at the Camel Trophy tournament. And before we go, of course, a big thank you also to Björn. Björn is the organizer of the Camel Trophy. I always enjoy playing at your tournament and also recording the matches. It's great fun, and it's also one of the only tournaments in the Netherlands, together with the Hill Giant Cup, where we're playing in a game store, and that always has something special. You know, that playing in a game store is just great. The bar also has its charm, obviously, but the game store really takes me back of when I was a young Timmy, you know. But anyway, thank you, Martijn and Peter, for showing your skills. Both, of course, congratulations, but especially Martijn for winning Camel Trophy number 7 here. And also thank you for watching another episode. I hope you've enjoyed this series about the Camel Trophy. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. Also, you can leave a like and share it on your socials. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. Talking about moving forward, I also have my very own Patreon program. Aye, me hearties. If you would like to support the show, you can become a patron at patreon.com/TimmyTalks. We have 3 different patron levels. You can join as an apprentice for just $1 a month, and this will give you access to the Timmy Talks Discord, and you can join in on all the Timmy Talks online tournaments, such as the Color Clash and the Reprint Masters. You can also become a supporter at the Sorcerer level for just $2 a month. When you are a sorcerer, your name will be mentioned in the end scroll, and if you want, you can play a game against, well, me. But there is more. If you become a supporter at the pirate level, we can even make an episode together. Aye! Haha! You can also choose to pay annually for a 10% discount. So what are you waiting for, me hearty? Visit patreon.com/TimmyTalks and join the Timmy Talks crew. Arrgh!
Rises early in the morning. Igitus figitus sumba kazee.